This presentation is only for students who have never previously requested accommodations or testing modifications at Stetson Law. Hello, and congratulations on your choice to join the Stetson Law family. My name is Catherine Pelham. I'm the Associate Director of Academic Success and Bar Preparation Services. I'm also the ADA Coordinator for the College of Law, and it is in that capacity that I talk to you today. Today we will cover three main areas. What is Accomodate? Who might use Accomodate to register and request academic adjustments? And how do you create your personal Accomodate student portal and submit your request to the ADA Coordinator? Stetson Law is committed to an accessible learning environment. Accommodate is a cloud-based system designed by Simplicity to accept student requests for and implement various non-exam and exam accommodations and testing modifications. My office uses Accomodate to process your requests for seeking academic adjustments as an ADA accommodation, a temporary accommodation, and/or an ESL testing modification. ADA accommodations. The Americans with Disabilities Act of 1990 and ADA Amendments Act of 2008 define a person with a disability as a person who has a physical or mental impairment that substantially limits one or more major life activities. Temporary accommodations are those temporary impairments or injuries that presumably will resolve within 6 months. ESL testing modifications for foreign students with English as a second language. Please note that a testing modification for foreign students is not considered a disability accommodation under the Americans with Disability Act in accordance with Title III of the Americans with Disability Act of 1990 and the ADA Amendments Act of 2008 and the Rehabilitation Act of 1973. ESL testing modifications will be granted in accordance with Stetson Law's policy on testing modifications for foreign students. It is essential that you follow the policies and procedures established for requesting accommodations and/or modifications. Failure to follow these policies may delay implementation of any granted accommodation or testing modification. Begin by visiting Stetson Law's Accessibility Resources webpage. You can find this link at the bottom of the Stetson Law homepage or simply search for Accessibility Resources in the search bar. In the left navigation bar on the Accessibility Resources webpage, you will see noted by the red arrow, Register and Request through the Accomodate portal. Here you will find a checklist for first-time registration and first-time accommodation and/or modification requests. Step 1, gather Stetson information. Please read the checklist as it contains important information for you to follow the procedures. The public registration form to request accommodations or modifications will ask you qualifying questions based upon some of the related policies. You will also need to certify that you have read and understood these related policies upon submission. You can review the academic calendar for submission deadlines and the related policies listed on your screen by visiting the policies homepage. Step 2, gather your information. Gather any documentation you believe will be necessary or helpful for the ADA coordinator to review. Generally, documentation must be current and relevant, contain a diagnostic statement by a properly credentialed evaluator. That diagnostic statement should include evidence of existing impairment and current functional limitations, your expected progression and stability, any information regarding current and past accommodations granted to you, and specific recommendations and rationale supporting your request. The documentation guidelines are found on the Accessibility Resources webpage. Upon submitting your request, you must acknowledge that you have read and understood these guidelines. As a student requesting accommodations and modifications for the first time, completing and submitting this public registration page accomplishes two goals. First, it creates your personal Accomodate student portal account, and second, it submits your initial request to the ADA coordinator for processing. Step 3, completing the public intake form. Visit the Accomodate public registration page to create your account and simultaneously start the process for requesting accommodations or modifications. Please note that compatible browsers include Mozilla Firefox, Internet Explorer, or Google Chrome. Additional questions will populate depending upon the type of accommodation or modification you are requesting. Please note that those seeking temporary accommodations should select the ADA accommodation option if a separate selection is not yet available. This slide discusses critical tips for providing your information to the ADA coordinator when reviewing your request. For ADA and temporary accommodation requests, be as thorough and specific as possible about your needs and your requests. You may upload documentation during this stage or bring it with you to our initial intake meeting. Please provide at least 3 alternative dates and times that you are available to meet with the ADA coordinator. Once you submit your request through the public registration form, you should receive a confirmation screen showing that your submission was successful. At that point, the ADA Services Office will reach out to you to set an appointment with the ADA coordinator. For those requesting ESL testing modifications, please follow the testing modification for foreign students policy language. You will be asked whether or not you are a native speaker of the English language, whether you have lived in an English-speaking country for 5 years or more, whether consecutive or not, have attended an English language high school or university for at least 1 academic year, or have earned a degree with a major in the English language at a university. Regardless of your answers to those questions, providing an English proficiency test score is also very helpful. Be proactive and thorough. Accommodations and modifications are decided on a case-by-case basis because everyone's situation is different. We will work together to determine what is most effective and reasonable for your needs. In addition, the earlier that you submit your request, the earlier the ADA coordinator can process it, and if granted, begin implementing those reasonable academic adjustments. Retroactive accommodations and testing modifications are not given. Welcome to your Accomodate student portal. This portal will help you manage all of your accessibility needs. Once ADA Services has received and accepted your request, you can view your initial submission at any time by selecting the accommodation request from the green accommodation tab at the top of your screen. After using your Stetson login credentials to access your Accomodate portal, this is where you will manage all of your requests throughout your law school career. I suggest bookmarking this URL for easy access. Managing your accommodation requests through your personal student portal. You will have access to your initial request, any medical documentation you've submitted, or other supporting documentation, any letters of accommodation granted from my office, and other information on this portal. Each and every semester or summer session, students are responsible for renewing all requests. Visit the resource library for instructions on how to renew your requests by using the bottom right navigation pane labeled shortcuts. There, next to the red arrow, you will find a quick link to the resource library. Take some time to familiarize yourself with your student portal and how to renew semester requests and the many other resources available to you. We keep adding new information and announcements to help you manage all of your accessibility needs. The Accessibility Resources team is here to help you with any questions or concerns. You can always reach us by email at ada@law.stetson.edu. Sharon Billsborough is our Administrative Support Specialist. Diane Esty is our Coordinator for Academic Success and Student Employment. And once again, I'm Catherine Pelham, the ADA Coordinator for Stetson Law. Congratulations again, and welcome to Stetson Law.